So many of you guys who follow my social media know me primarily as a stage entertainer, but I also do therapy. And I am going to be teaching hypnotherapy in the 2020 calendar year. And if you're curious as to kind of how it works, what I do is something called transforming therapy. It's a little different than conventional direct hypnotherapy suggestions. And so to kind of show you a little bit of what that is, I'm about to show you a session that I did live in front of a class in 2017. And Trini, who was a student in that class, volunteered to participate on stage and do a therapy session in front of the class, just to give you an idea as to how quick transforming therapy is. This session you're about to see is about 25 minutes in length, and there's a question and answer period with the students afterwards that you might find interesting. And basically, I hypnotize her, bring her to an initial sensitizing event, use that emotion as an affect bridge to, again, find that initial sensitizing event to get some type of resolution from it. And her particular presenting issue was a phobia of cats. And she's been terrified of cats her whole life. So we go on a little journey to investigate as to why that is. And it's quite interesting, and you'll see it in the video. So enjoy.
We're going to talk a little bit about what you're here to. I'm going to play this like a hypnotherapy session, okay? We'll talk a little bit about what you're here to achieve and what it is that you'd like to work on today. So you tell me you have an issue, the debilitating issue. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. This fear of cats. I mean, I can't even. If one's right there, like at front of your house, the doorstep, I won't go to the door to knock or anything like that. Just walk away because I just start getting. I mean, it's almost like I can't breathe. It's just so I'm so afraid of it.
Okay, so you are. It is absolutely debilitating. Okay. And what kind of things are happening to you physically?
Well, get just anxious and almost I'm just really shaky and sweaty. I starting to get hotter and harder. Sometimes when it's really bad, I'll just pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But it mostly is just this deep fear.
What do you think that fear is?
That it's going to attack me.
Okay. It's a dangerous, vicious animal that's going to attack you.
Attack me or just want to come close to me and, just rub against my leg. I just would freak out. I couldn't even imagine that.
Okay. Last interaction with the cat? You physically touched?
Maybe when I was maybe 12 years old, maybe.
Okay. So a long time.
A long time. That was the last time I've ever touched a cat.
Okay. All right. So if I were to wave a magic wand over you and grant you a wish of something that you wanted to change about this cat, describe to me what would be a perfect situation for you, or how would you be different?
Well, it would be nice to be able to just, if I see one or I'm in someone's home, it'd be nice not to, the first thing I ask when I go to someone's home for the first time is, do you have a cat? So that's pretty embarrassing.
Embarrassing how? How does that make you feel?
Well, because I'm sure people think, you must be were you crazy or what's wrong with you? Cat, there's nothing to be afraid of a cat. And the other thing too is, I also worked for a research company for 12 years, so I used to go to someone's home and interview these people, and some of them felt like their cat was like a child of theirs.
Like a family member?
Yes, and I could never understand that because it doesn't, to me I'm thinking, how can you compare that to kids or something, but this was their family member. big part of the home.
Do you have any pets?
We have 3 dogs.
3 dogs. Not family members?
No,
No, they're dogs.
they're dogs.
Okay.
They're not.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Everyone can be a weirdo.
But I would like to be able to just touch it. The whole thing of, I couldn't imagine right now, I don't like their spine, the way it curves and stuff. Oh, it just freaks me out. It's just.
So you love Halloween?
I stay at the court of my house, and I can't.
So you'd love to be able to just pet a
I
cat
would love to be
and not
feel this like.
tightness in your chest, hyperventilating and panic. Have you ever been told about fears and phobias? Or do you know anything about fears and phobias?
Just, just people just have these fears of things and a phobia of heights or, roller coasters.
All right. There is a major difference between fears and phobias. Fear is specific to one thing. Touch a cat bites you, you're afraid of that cat. A phobia, touch a cat bites you, you're afraid of all cats. Okay? So there's a difference in fears and phobias. Sounds like to me that you have a phobia of cats. Okay. So, because you've learned so much about hypnosis in this class in the last few days, and how the subconscious mind responds, and can associate ideas where the phobia gets created, and the subconscious mind gets marked as some type of initial event, and emotionally it gets recorded in the mind, and it's there to stay until it's changed by another idea. So it remains in the mind until it is changed by another idea. So in knowing and learning this research, another thing that I talked about the last couple of days, I believe it was yesterday, we talked about how it's very difficult to change something in one level of consciousness when it happened in another level of consciousness. Whereas your phobia of cats is not created with a rational mind. It's created in an emotional mind. But the emotion mind is what rules our human behavior. We're driven by emotion. So now you're in everyday life where you're trying to cope and deal with normal life and everything goes fine until you encounter a cat. And much like a child who puts the hand on the hot stove, pulls back, the hot stove is hot, every day for the rest of their life they realize when they get something near something hot, their body reacts and pulls the arm back. It's not necessarily a conscious thought, it can happen subconsciously, very quickly. Well, this is what's happening with the subconscious mind. You get anywhere near a cat and some type of emotional marker or some type of initial event or emotional trauma, if we want to call it that, is causing your body to go through some type of visceral reaction. Even though consciously you can see that this reaction is not accurate, there's no reason for you to be afraid of all cats. Yeah, sure, maybe there's 1 or 2 or whatever, but statistically, every house cat you're going to encounter, I'm sure you'll be more than just 5 and leave completely intact without losing a leg. But even though we rationally know that, the subconscious mind and the emotion mind overrides, and we feel completely out of control. Now, when I say that you feel completely out of control, would you believe me if I told you that this whole situation is happening because you created it? No.
No.
You wouldn't believe that?
No.
Do you not want to believe that?
No, I mean, if you can explain to me, but...
Yeah, well, just exactly what I said. You don't think you're the one that caused that? No, but remember when I was talking a couple of days ago, how, when I speak to my children, young children, I'm responsible for what I say. And I have control over what I say. But I don't have control of what they hear. Meaning their perception of what I'm saying overrules what I'm actually saying. So a feeling that they get from what I'm saying is more important, such as I could be sitting in my office working on something, dealing on a phone call with some contract for a big show or a TV thing or something, and I could have a child who spent 45 minutes drawing a beautiful picture at the kitchen table, coming in trying to show me the picture, and I do one of these, shh, close the door. They don't know what I'm doing business-wise. But I'll tell you what they do know is what they felt in that moment. That I don't know that they were 45 minutes coloring a beautiful picture, that they couldn't, in their mind, know that Daddy's just going to love this picture. And they didn't even get the opportunity to show it. That affects them emotionally, even though that's not my intent. So what happens is something affects you emotionally, all of a sudden it becomes the human behavior that's driving you. And because it's internal inside of happening in your mind, something happened inside that caused it. Sure, there's a situation, but now your mind is doing this to you, not someone else. All right, that's what I mean. Now you understand that. So if your mind is doing this, it would be possible for us to modify how the experience is of the mind so that your mind can now control it. If it's something you created, it now tells us it's something you can control. All right, so I'm going to teach you how to do that. We're going to do that today. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so what I have you do for now is just put your hands on your lap. Okay, I'm going to have you sit back a little tiny bit, just like that. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to have you go ahead and close your eyes. And leave them closed, and there's no need to reopen them until I ask you to do otherwise, which is not going to be for another few minutes. What I'd like you to do is tap into your mind's imagination. I'd like you to imagine as though you can feel the contact between your hands and the texture of your hands. And you can feel the texture there, and you can feel the contact and space in between your hands. Now, what I'm going to do is we're just going to move the left arm. I'm going to move it for you, just over on the side here. And then I want you just to focus on your right. What I'd like you to do is imagine and create that you can feel that hand getting lighter and lighter and lighter. Now, as you continue to focus, just take a nice big deep breath deep into your lungs. Good, and as you exhale, let the tension in your shoulders go. And your job is to relax. Now, you're going to feel that hand, right hand, getting lighter and lighter and lighter. You're going to feel the tension between the hand and the surface begin to break. You're going to feel slight air underneath your right hand. And as you continue to move, you might feel it begin to jerk, to move as it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. It's going to be lifting and rising, rising and lifting, getting lighter and lighter and lighter, lifting and rising. And soon as it continues to move, it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And eventually, as it comes up in the air, it's slowly going to move closer towards your body. It may touch your forehead first, it may touch your nose first, it may touch your cheek, it may just land on your chest. But once it makes contact with that upper part of your body, it's going to go deeper into hypnosis than ever before. Feel it getting lighter, lighter, lifting and rising, rising and lifting, lifting and rising, lighter and lighter and lighter, lifting and rising, lighter and lighter, and let your body sleep deep right there. Let it rest and relax. Sinking down deeper and deeper. So heavy, so tired, so restful, and so relaxed. I know you can hear me. I'm just going to continue to speak, and I know you can hear me well. As we're connected, you and I, in this moment, I'm going to guide you through a series of questions and or exercises, and you'll just follow along as best that you possibly can. Again, breathe in real deep, deep in your lungs. Good. And exhale. Perfect. I'd like you to take a moment to tap into your imagination. Now you're here with me and you're safe. I'm right here, right next to you. I want you just to imagine and create that you can see a cat right in front of you. He's 10 feet away, and he's moving closer. 8 feet, 7 feet. And you feel those feelings beginning to build up. The cat's coming near you, 6 feet, 4 feet, 2 feet, and he's getting closer, and he wants to come up by your feet. And you can feel him and sense him here. And you can feel the cat there. Now just give me a moment, what's going inside? If you could give a voice to your chest, what's your chest feeling right now? Quickly, if you could describe in one word some emotion that you're feeling right now. Quickly, one word.
Fear.
Fear, all right, good. I want you to use that word in a sentence. I feel fear because?
Because of that cat's getting close to me.
Okay, I feel fear because that cat's getting close to me, and I'm afraid that he's going to?
Jump on me.
Okay, so now you're afraid he's going to jump on you. I want you just to picture that emotion into your mind right now and feeling that emotion. And just now we're going to go back in time to a different time and different place where you feel that emotion once again, that emotion of fear of a cat. Now picture we're going back 10, 9, 8, your arms getting smaller, legs getting smaller, everything getting smaller. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, And 1 right here. Now, give me an idea. Are you alone or is there someone with you? Back in time, another time. Are you alone or is someone with you? Alone. How old are you?
8.
8. What do you see? Are you inside or outside?
Outside.
Outside. Give me an idea of what you see outside.
It's dark.
It's dark, so it's nighttime. Okay. And what do you see?
The trash can.
The trash can. So what's by the trash can? Anything by the trash can? Give me an idea of what you see. Cars. Is there cars going by or cars parked? Parked. Okay. Give me an idea. What is it you see?
I see the neighbor's house, the cars, just dark.
Okay, it's dark. So we went to a point where you're afraid. Are you afraid of the dark? Or are you afraid? Give me an idea as to...
No.
Well, no. What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid to get near the trash can.
Why would you be afraid to get near the trash can?
Because that's where the cat lives.
Oh, there's a cat, a stray cat that lives there?
Yes.
Okay, there's a stray cat that lives there.
Yes.
And have you seen this cat before?
No.
No, okay, so he's hiding in there. So give me an idea, we move forward in time slightly, you head towards the trash cans, or do you experience the cat, or do you interact with the cat?
I have to take the trash.
You have to take the trash
Put it in the can.
in the can. But you know that there's a cat there, or you don't know there's a cat there yet? You don't know. Okay, so you give me an idea, you go, you head over to the trash can, then what?
I lift the lid up.
Lift the lid?
And the cat just
Jumps.
on me and scratches me.
Okay, just let it go, rest and relax right there. Perfect. Let's go to a different time, different place. Here we go. Where you felt that fear again. 10, 9, going 8, 7, 6, 5, going smaller, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here, right here in the hair and now. Quickly, are you alone or is there someone with you? Somebody with you. How old are you?
11.
11. You're 11 years old. Give me an idea of what's happening around you. Are you indoors or outside?
I'm inside.
Inside.
My aunt's house. And
Inside your aunt's house.
with all my brothers and siblings and cousins.
So it's like a family event of some kind?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And what
We're sleeping. We're
Sleeping.
sleeping on the floor.
Okay. And give me an idea of what's happening next.
Something heavy on my chest.
Okay.
I'm sleeping, but something's heavy on my chest. I
Okay.
can't breathe.
Okay, you can't breathe. You're feeling something's heavy on your chest.
Something. It's right here. Right
Okay.
here.
Any idea what that might be?
My eyes I open because I can't breathe.
And what do you see?
This black cat right here on my face, just staring at me. He's I can feel him breathing. He's taking my breath away. I can't move. The cat is just on me. I don't like it. I want to get it off me.
All right, good. Let it go. Let it go and rest and relax right there. Perfect. Just like that. Good. All right. Now we're back to the here and now. I'd like you to imagine 10 feet away from you, there's a chair. And in that chair is the cat from the trash can. And I know this is going to sound a little strange at first. When you're 8 years old, same cat from the trash can. We know that that was long ago and that cat's no longer with us. But just imagine that this was the case. The cat's in the trash, sitting in the chair out in front of you. And for some reason, he has a voice. I've given him a voice and he can communicate. I want you to tell that cat what you feel. Start by addressing him by, "Hey cat," and tell him exactly what you feel.
Hey, cat. Why?
How did he make you feel?
Scared. Just scared of him. His teeth.
So tell him that. I'm scared of you.
Why did
Tell
you
him
hiss
that.
at me?
Why did you hiss
hiss
him?
at me?
Okay. Now I'm going to flip roles. You're the cat. And Trini just told you, "Why did you hiss at me? You scared me." Be the cat. Give the voice. Cat, reply to her. "Trini."
You scared me.
Oh.
I was sleeping. You woke me up and you scared me when you lifted up the lid.
So now once again, you're Trini. Talk to the cat. He just told you that. He startled you. Or that he was startled and got woken up and scared. What would you say to the cat?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Now be the cat once again. Trini just apologized.
It's okay.
It's okay. Now be the cat once again. Now, if if I were to ask the cat, or maybe you could ask the cat, did you intend to hiss at me and scare me? Ask him that.
Cat, did you do that? Did you do that on purpose? Did you want to make me hurt me?
Okay, now be the cat and reply once again.
No.
No. Repeat that again.
No.
No. Now, we're going to skip forward. We're going to remove that cat and put the cat, your aunt's cat. I believe he belonged to your aunt. Is that the correct assumption? Okay. Now he's in the chair in front of you. You tell him how you made him or her, how he or she made you feel. You start by saying, cat, you tell him.
Cat, why are you on my chest?
Now be the cat and respond to Trini. Trini, I was on your chest because...
There's so many kids here, I couldn't get around all of you, and you were just laying there warm. Just wanted to get next to you.
Now be Trini. The cat just said, just wanted to be warm, get near you. It sounded like, much like all of us, was looking for some love. Be Trini, reply to the cat.
Yes, but cat, I don't. Why me though? You could have gone somewhere else.
No, be the cat. Cat's going to respond, Trini just said, why me? You could have gone somewhere else. Why did you pick Trini? Of all the kids, why did you pick her?
Because just happened. It was just an accident.
Okay. All right. Ask the cat. Now you're Trini again. Ask the cat. Do you have any ill feelings towards me?
Do you have any ill feelings towards
I'll be the cat. Answer Trini. She just asked, do you have any ill feelings towards me? And the cat, he responds.
No.
No.
No. No.
No. Now, be Trini once again and ask the cat this. Do you like me?
Do you like me?
Now be the cat.
Yes.
Sure.
Sure. You're
Okay.
you're nice.
Okay. All right. Back to the here and now. Let that go. Let it rest and relax. Perfect. Good. Take a nice big deep breath. Good. Now, it sounds like there was a little bit of a mix-up. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Now imagine once again both cats sitting side by side on the chair out front of you, sharing the chair. And repeat after me. Talking to both the cats, you're going to say, I am I and you are you. And I'm not here to live up to your expectations of me.
I'm not here to live up to expectations to you or to me.
And you're not here to live up to my expectations of what I expect.
You're not here to live up to my expectations of what
If we find each other in life,
If we find each other in life,
it's beautiful.
it's beautiful.
If not, it can't be helped.
If not, it can't be helped.
This, no, thank you, that was good. This just means that you don't have to live your life to an expectation that that situation caused. You don't live up to anything that they need, nor do they live their lives according to your behavior. What we missed here and happened is the intent. There was no intent for the cat near the trash can to ever harm you in any way. Nor was there any intent for the cat at your aunt's to harm you anyway. But now looking back at that as a grown woman, isn't it easy to see how a young child could misunderstand what that intent is? Yeah. It's almost silly, isn't it? Yeah. Are you ready to let that go? Yeah. Planet is filled with beautiful creatures. And cats are those creatures as well. They fit in our environment. And sure, there's cats that might be a little grouchy, just like there's humans that are grouchy. You don't go around avoiding humans. You encounter a grouchy one, and then you spend a little less time with that one. That's correct, right?
Yes.
There's no difference with cats. 99.5% of them are super friendly. And when you're afraid of cats, I'm guessing that they're coming to you in a room full of people, aren't they? And you've been trying to avoid them in the past, but they keep coming to you. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Is that puzzling?
Yes.
Yeah. You know that there's a reason why that they sense your fear. There's a reason why that they sense your fear. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a story. A wonderful story, actually, of a cat. If I'm not mistaken, I believe his name was Oscar. And Oscar was at an old folks' home. And he had this uncanny ability to sense when people needed him. And this is a true story. I'd like you to look it up. It's very fascinating. And he had this uncanny ability to predict when people were sick and when they were dying at this old folks' home. And he would go and lay on the bed. He roamed around the old folks' home, and he would go and lay on the bed, and within 2 or 3 days, the person would pass away. So they started using Oscar to predict when some of those patients were near the end of their lives. Matter of fact, there's even an instance that they recorded that they thought someone was near death, dying, so they brought the cat in because there was a comforting feeling to the patients about what the cat was bringing. And they thought the patient was going to be dying, and they brought the cat in, and the cat left, and he went to a different room. That person didn't die, came through, but the room that he went to, that person died shortly after. Cats have this incredible sensitivity to fulfill people's needs. They can be ornery, they can be a little stubborn, a lot stubborn, but there's something that they have that's an uncanny gift, is to give people what they need. And the reason why they're coming to you in a room full of people, it's always the same. The one who is afraid of cats, the stupid cat seems to go to them. That's because that person, they're trying to fulfill an emptiness and a fear. They're not coming to prey on you. They're coming to share their love. And they're coming to spend some time with you, and they want to purr, and they want to be pet. And when we resist them with that energy, we're affecting their lives in a negative way too. When they just want to share and be loved. Similar to you, right? Yeah. So now that you can see from your reasoning, rationalizing adult mind, it's a little silly to behave in this way. It is. But it's understandable. Now it's time to let that go. What I'd like you to do is I'm just going to move your hand over this way. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this negative energies, those negative feelings, that the anxiety feelings that would come from cats, we're just going to take those out of your mind. We're going to place them right here on your hand. And let's go ahead and blow them away. From here on forward, you can have respect for the animals, for the cats. You don't have to pet them. You don't have to interact with them. But if you'd like to, you have the confidence, calmness, and the ability to easily interact with a cat. It's a beautiful animal with plenty of things to share with you. And when you're willing and ready to accept and share that, you'll be able to do that effortlessly and easily. Is that agreeable to you? Yes. You'll find, I think, your life to be very different from here on out. Very free, very liberating. Because understand that you have incredible mind power. That mind power goes both ends of the spectrum. As powerful it was working against you to make you afraid of cats, it's equally as powerful on the other end to be able to accept and love cats. You recognize that and you know that to be true. Anything else you'd like to ask or tell me before we wrap things up? No. Quickly, who do I remind you of? Quickly. Do I remind you of anyone in particular? Okay, good. Let her rest and relax. On the count of 5, you'll awaken, be back to the here and now, refreshed, revived, awakened, aware, fully energized in every way, shape, and form. 1, charging up, feeling good about yourself, good about those around you. 2, filling with all kinds of self-confidence, self-esteem. 3, eyes sparkling clear, as though they're bathed in cool spring water. On the next number I count, eyes open, fully awake, fully aware. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Eyes open. Take a nice big deep breath. And stretch. You surprised yourself, didn't you?
Yeah.
Were you expecting any of that?
No.
No.
Like always kept.
It's okay. Right? We did some serious work. We rolled your sleeves up and we got into it.
I want to go pet a cat.
You want to go pet a cat? And there's no doubt in my mind that I believe that you will.
Want to buy one today? Next door.
Show your appreciation one more time. Before you go, have a seat, man. Have a seat. We have some people that are pretty emotional here.
Were you aware of the memories that you related? Were they
No, I mean,
before this event?
No, I mean, the first, yes, and it's just so, that's all I would think about every time.
Okay.
And I would think that they're all going to do that to me, just come out and, and attack me.
That happened to me once. I had to catch up and make my dumpster.
So, describe when we went back to those memories. How detailed was that?
Oh, I felt like I was right there again, just feeling it and all this emotion. I mean, it was no problem before, and then this cat, I opened the lid and this cat comes out and it's just this overwhelming fear again. I didn't want to be there. I don't want to be there. So.
Yeah, did you forget about that event when you were 8 years old?
No, that's something that I've always
You knew that,
knew.
but when he asked you earlier.
But I don't remember the age.
No, you don't.
I don't remember
Age,
the age.
you know, where the sights
But I
and
know I was
sounds.
little, but I don't remember the age.
And sometimes they can remember the initial sensitizing event, and other times not. So when I'm guiding through, and again, this is all hypnotherapy, so I teach a hypnotherapy class, is that when we're guiding through to these events, you get to an initial sensitizing event, and it's not that profound. So then we'll go to another spot, and we'll see if we can get somewhere more profound. But when she went first to that 8 and the cat jumped out of the dumpster, right away as a therapist, I'm like, okay, that's pretty profound. So I went to another place just in case there's something a little more, and she went up an inch. She went back the other direction to 11, which gives me an indication that she's probably not going to go. It can happen, they can jump around, but then she had another instance of where this happened. So now, okay, it's enough for me to work on, because what I need to do is I want her to have, I'm going to use the emotion as an affect bridge into the subconscious mind to begin that resolution process. And it sounds so silly, but putting something out in a chair is called Gestalt dialoguing. So Gestalt dialoguing, we now can let her subconscious mind project. So this is where it's all internal. So, well, how do you know? What do you say? I just let it, we deal with what emerges. She's doing all the work. It's exhausting. It's exhausting emotionally. And one of the key effective points of being an effective therapist is confrontation. And hysteria goes a long way. I want the hysterics building up. I want to use that emotion to go in there. And this is, sometimes it can be very difficult to do as a hypnotherapist because you feel like you're putting them through that. And extremely brave for her to do this even in front of her husband, and Bob not jumping in and going, what the hell are you doing to my wife? It's difficult to watch and it's difficult to experience. But now you can understand what we're dealing with when we're talking about psychology, when we're dealing on the surface level, in the conscious level of thinking. This is nowhere near what just happened here. This is leaps and bounds more effective. Much more effective than direct suggestion. You're going to be no longer afraid of cats, and you're going to be this, and they're going to be that. There was some suggestions that I had building in, but those suggestions was just me regurgitating what she said to me. Pretty cool, powerful technique, huh? Yeah, so again, we use the emotion as the affect bridge to get into it, did the Gestalt dialoguing so that she can project, and then she hears herself hear the other perspective. Now sometimes, and again this hypnotherapy, but sometimes you're not going to get the apology from the person. There's a battle with their mom, and the mom's like, you're mean, and you're this, and there's nothing happening. So at some point, I have to create that resolution. Then I use the Gestalt prayer. You know, you are you, I am I. You're not here to live up to my expectations, I'm not here to live up to your expectations. If we find each other, it's beautiful. If we don't, so be it. And we disconnect from that. Then I added a little something where we took those memories, blew them away. I could have blown it away much more symbolically. She goes.
Would you have considered ever, so you had that initial where you had a cat approach her and got the fear, so after having gone through the regression and so forth, would you ever do that again so that at least before emerging from hypnosis she had the
All right, so the question is, when I brought the cat closer to her, why did I bring the cat closer to her? I triggered the emotion. I want to get the emotion. So not only we got her into hypnosis, we're taking that emotion and going. Turn up the volume. That's why there's no Kleenex in my office. Turn it up, and let's go. Go time. And to bring the emotion, then the resolution happens. His question is, could I have, in the imagination world, bring in another cat and let her interact with that cat? Yes, you could.
Good or bad? Or?
No, no difference, good or bad, no. I mean, I could, and then I would see how she'd react to that, and use it as a rehearsal. But I have no doubt with Trini's mind power that it's not necessary. Oh, you're very welcome. You did all the work. I just take the credit.
Like I said, I'm anxious to go see if I'm thinking.
Well, and that's the hard part. The hardest part is I can't envision my life being uncomfortable with a cat because it's been since 8.
Yeah.
But you'll notice, you'll get there, and part of the conscious mind goes, I feel like I should be afraid. I should be responding in some negative way. But I'm not, and I'm comfortable. And then you feel the cat. And it's a whole new, brand new experience again. You know that's why cats go to you, though, right?
I never knew. But I always told Lois that they always attracted them, like they sense my fear. They always want to get near me.
But it's not to attack you, it's to calm you. Yeah, it's to calm you.
To me, it was they were going to attack me. That's all the time. But yeah, cats would always want to get near me. People say, I don't know why they're going near you. They never get near. They never
Any
come to you, but
strangers,
strangers, and they want to be right there. And I'm thinking, get them away from that. Yeah. So that's it.
But now, if there was a cat here, we'd have no problem.
No.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm ready to go find some.
Any last questions for Trini, or any last questions for myself, Patrick, and then Marc?
When you went back in her age, you were counting, I think you were counting down,
Yeah,
right?
10, 9, getting smaller, I'm getting smaller. We're just simulating the time travel.
And so I was like, are you really now at the age of 1? But then you ask her, how old are you? And then she said 8. So was
I just said we're going back in time to a time where you're younger, smaller, going now 10, 9. So I didn't.
Whatever, it is just
Yep.
symbolic, kind of.
Yep. Marc?
What if the fear is something more primal, that's more rooted in a primal part of the brain? Is it as effective?
Yeah, this is the most effective way to do hypnotherapy because they do all the work. It trumps, it beats all direct suggestion. It beats neuro-linguistic programming because we're dealing with the content. Neuro-linguistic programming bypasses the content and tries to short-circuit things. This is as most primal as we can get because it is her subconscious mind projecting what it is that she wants to deal with.
But the fear itself, the fear of cats, isn't a primal, inherent fear that we all have, whereas there are primal fears.
Sure, but we accept those and deal with those and condition ourselves to be based. There's really, when you're born, you kind of have 2 major fears. Fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. You're kind of born with those two fears. And then on a conscious or psychological level, you have the fear of you develop the fear of being criticized and the fear of being unlovable. Those are your basics. And then all of those things kind of come back. And yeah, we have this natural thing when something's attacking us. It's that fight or flight, so then that's what gets triggered. But it's not specifically to cats, because who here is okay with cats, right? Everybody. So it's the primal fear, but we're associating it as a phobia because we're identifying an object that's causing that. So we can break that association and that object won't cause that. Does she still have maybe a fear of venomous snakes? Quite possibly. Or fear of alligators? Quite possibly. And those are rational fears. Right? You know what I mean? Like I'm not afraid of snakes, but if I'm visiting Africa or Brazil or somewhere that I see a snake that I don't recognize the colors, I'm not afraid of them. I'm not an idiot. I'm like that. Is this snake okay? What's the story with this one? Right? Our perception emotionally of an experience. Even a positive experience could be, the point I was making is even as a young child, if you are at school and your parents drop you off and it's the first time you're away from your parents and they close the door and you're just screaming and crying and they're like, oh, they'll get over it. Yeah, they will, consciously. But subconsciously, when you feel like someone's leaving, and so maybe in all relationships, someone breaks up with you, there's that sobbing and crying, and you don't do well with breakups. They can all begin to trigger and associate things together. And this may or may not be the initial sensitizing event. It doesn't matter. What I want is to get into the subconscious mind, let the subconscious mind project what they think they need issues with fixing. And that's why Gestalt dialoguing works so well. We have a hard time internalizing. I can tell you what's wrong with every single one of your relationships easier than I can tell you what's wrong with mine, because I'm in it. It's like you can't see the forest when you're standing too close to the tree. That's why when you can project it out and see it as away from you and communicate from another perspective, your mind projects what it needs for healing. I don't want to, I'm so teaching hypnotherapy right now.
Go ahead.
You like it, right? And you like it.
The one ad, I'm just asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Okay, yes, go ahead.
In my family, addictions, alcohol is a pretty big deal. Same process?
Yeah, I deal with substance abuse a little differently, but a very similar process. I'll do a series of, most of the time what I'll do is 3 sessions. I like to just, in a situation like this, 1 session. But she's primed. The first session, come in, we'll do some direct suggestion, teach them how to be hypnotized. Teach them how to get into the subconscious mind. Second session, here we go. Get right in. Third session, reinforce a direct suggestion, give them some type of a script, some type of a keyword that they can link up to how they feel, do a little cleanup, a little housekeeping, off they go. It's a 3-session process. Now, with substance abuse, things are different. We have a little chemical dependency. We have mental dependency a lot. We want to break some of that. Now, it can be a little more challenging because right now, she would do anything to get rid of the phobia of cats. She is highly motivated. With alcohol, there's part of you that enjoys that. Cigarettes, part of you that enjoys going out and having a cigarette, you're social, you're outside, having a couple of breaths. I have to not only change some of that, but now, in order for true change to happen, you have to have suffered enough. And a lot of times, people with smoking, alcohol, they haven't suffered enough. Even though their life's falling apart, they still enjoy the process. So there comes a time where you got to find a way to break all that, and there's different techniques to do that. What was that?
I saw when you wanted to recall something, you touch her forehead.
Yes.
And I saw that when you wanted to continue your questions, you touch your forehead. I don't know, maybe
it was by accident, maybe I was thinking, I don't know, I was posing for the camera. I don't know, it was one of the two. No, what I'm trying to do with this is that's annoying. That really blocks up the conscious mind and forces a subconscious response. Jason?
Yes, on that topic, how do you know that that when you do that, that it's coming from the subconscious. How do I explain this? That it's coming from the subconscious, and that it's a real thing, and not just something that my mind spits out so that you stop tapping on my head.
Right, your mind's going to spit something up quickly,
Right.
and if I'm not satisfied with that,
Right.
I'm going to start again saying, give me the first letter, I'm going to force her to start spelling, because that becomes very difficult. So I'm going to make her spell a word.
Right.
I follow up with the emotion. I want you to focus on an emotion. She's already in the emotion state. She's already starting to panic and describing that fear. There's no doubt I'm getting subconscious response.
Right.
Does it happen when I'm dealing with a client and the emotion's not coming out and they're not giving me what I want them? Yes, that can happen.
So
I would do a different technique. I would start doing idiomotor responses. I would have her, I'm going to go through an alphabet, A, B, C, and then she's going to start communicating on a neurological level. So there's other techniques that we would use. This just happened to flow in easily because it was, when she's reacting viscerally,
Right.
we're dealing with a subconscious mind.
Right. So, but the way you tell is through emotion. Is it?
Yeah, that's the affect bridge to get us to where we need to go.
Right.
Emotion is the fuel that makes this all work. Which is why I want that out. I'm not going to encourage it to go away.
Right.
The moment I have emotion,
Yeah.
that's right.
So what would be the next step? Should we?
You go pet a cat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, go have some fun with some cats. Absolutely. Go see some kitties at the little kittens at the pet store.
It's February.
Go to the main side.
Go to the zoo.
Hmm?
Just go to the zoo.
It's a big cat.
Go to the zoo. Come over to my house, I have 2 cats. Cool. Any other questions? Show your appreciation one more time.